Okay, everybody, the South Park episode just dropped, and honestly, it is hilarious. I mean, part of it is kind of like whatever, typical humor, but it was hilarious. Just watch this little snippet of our Prove Me Wrongs, our viral cultural domination on prime time on Comedy Central. So important, so impactful that South Park is highlighting. Watch it.
I'm sick of people stealing my stick. If anyone around here is going to be a master debater, it's me. So let's go. Who wants to debate the master debater? Let's go. You right there.
That's the stupidest haircut I've ever seen.
You are wrong. Leviticus 3:17 says it shall be a perpetual statute for your generations throughout all your dwellings. So you can shut up, baby. You just hate America and you love abortions.
Now, there's going to be a lot said about this, but we need to have a good spirit about being made fun of. This is all a success. This is all a win. We as conservatives, we have thick skin, not thin skin. And you can make fun of us. It doesn't matter. And until next time, I hope all of you also become master debaters.
You know, last week we lost a great true patriot, a content creator that basically was out there in the open, that spoke to the people in this country, that he debated everybody. He wasn't afraid to touch on subjects that basically other people would find taboo, that the mainstream media wouldn't even touch. Unfortunately, at an event, someone decided that basically they should end his life. As of this point, we recorded this on the 11th. We know they're still looking for the shooter, and basically they did find his gun. So basically, that's one step closer to this deviant monster to the point. But the other thing is on this, and the article we're going to read, and it's a miss on the article also. Comedy Central has pulled the South Park episode, which they mocked of Charlie Kirk.
Oh, that's not right.
And, the thing is with this is that why would you do something of that nature? I mean, in a way, Charlie Kirk liked it. I mean, it was like, it was fun. He nailed certain things. He said, even on Twitter, I'm sorry, not TikTok. That's what it was. It was on TikTok that basically said, they nailed it on a couple of things. It was funny. It was fun. Hey, listen, you get mocked on the situation. I mean, this season, South Park hasn't been up to their normal jest to the situation. They're missing out on a lot of other stuff that they could be doing. I don't know what's going on over there with the guys at South Park Studios.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
But unfortunately, they have pulled this episode. You could still see clips of it online. But before we get into this article, remember, most importantly now these days, be sure to drop the comment, a like, share, and subscribe. It's very important. Whether it's this channel or any other content creator, make sure you give a satisfactory acknowledgement to these channels, because basically they want to shut down free speech. They've already taken a life in an attempt to shut us down. Think about that for a moment. Yes, I'm a small channel, but it does affect us as well. And it does affect you, the viewer itself, because if you're here in the U.S., especially, they're trying to shut down the Constitution. They're trying to hide things from the general public that, they don't want out there. Whatever opinion you have about this is not to fight on opinions. Debating them is what we should do. And that's the important thing out there. So take that moment, subscribe. And if you want to go further to help support this channel, description below, we have our gear shop out there, shopcuticast.com. And also we have, if you want to drop something for coffee on there, we have our PayPal account. You can drop some money in there. that does help us on there. And we really do appreciate on that. So let's get into this. And I really don't like the title of this on The Hollywood Reporter. Manga blames South Park for Charlie Kirk's assassination of Comedy Central pulls episode. I haven't heard anybody on on this side of the aisle. I wouldn't want this pulled. I know there's a lot of people saying Tim Pool said the same thing too. This episode shouldn't be pulled. I mean, this is just a twist, what Hollywood Reporter says, but we're going to read it anyway, so at least we see what is going on here. A scheduled repeat of the recent episode mocking Kirk has been pulled from the Comedy Central rotation, while someone on the right are taking aim at the show. In the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination, some conservatives are pointing fingers at South Park for mocking the conservative thought leader in a recent episode. While Comedy Central pulled the same episode from a scheduled repeat on Wednesday night, and sources say that the channel will not be airing the episode in its linear rotation, though as of Thursday morning, the episode was still currently available on streaming. The second episode of the 27th season Comedy Central satirical hit titled Got a Nut had Eric Cartman becoming a right-wing podcaster and spouting tropes used by Kirk, who tours college campuses debating progressive students. Who wants to debate the master debater, demanded Cartman, who also took on Kirk's hairstyle and later attended a ceremony giving out the Charlie Kirk Award for young master debaters. The mockery was pretty tame by South Park standards, certainly kinder than the treatment of Homeland Security Christian Knoll in the same episode. After the episode aired, Kirk seemed thrilled and posted TikTok calling the episode hilarious and noted South Park gets this right. The Turning Point USA founder added, "We have good spirits about being made fun of. This is an all win. We are conservatives, have thick skin, not thin skin, and you can make fun of us and it doesn't matter." And that's true. People, they thought that basically we were going to attack the, South Park for, what they were doing with President Trump. They said, we didn't like it, but we're not going to sit there and say, it can't be on the air. But after Kirk's tragic murder at the Utah Valley University while engaged in some sort of campus debate, oh God, it was campus debate, the episode poked fun of. Some MAGA conservatives are blasting the show. According to the New York Post, I want to know who they talked to. One Turning Point USA staffer posted on Telegram, comedy has consequences. No, it doesn't. Charlie was the target in the culture before he was a target in real life. And a right-wing radio host, Jesse Kelly, told his listeners, South Park thought it was funny to turn on Charlie into a cartoon joke. Now his wife is planning a funeral. This video, this cartoon came out long before this. The Daily Beast spotted some other comments on social media. Let's blame South Park, blame the media, blame the leftist rhetoric. The people, they're trying to blame South Park, which actually it is the media. It is leftist rhetoric, because we can go through, all the videos that the left have been threatening violence.
He insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
The people hate you and want to see you dead, and South Park certainly fomented the hatred necessary to get Kurt assassinated. No, they didn't. Trey Parker and Matt Stone are responsible for this, while a popular account called Johnny Manga dubbed South Park monsters for this episode. That said, many others on the right, perhaps the majority, were quick to note they are not to blame for the series, so the impulse to bash the show has been far from universal. One manga label X account wrote, "I don't blame South Park. They aren't our leaders, representatives, mentors, pastors, example settlers, or social theory caretakers. They are satire." Comedy Central had no comment on yesterday's scrapped repeat, and the episode is still available on demand via Paramount Plus and Hulu. Pulling episodes that unintentionally intersect with a violent life tragedy is a common practice as a respectful effort not to inflame, seemingly to take advantage of the situation. A few other episodes of South Park have been permanently pulled from distribution over the years due to the controversial content, which they should be returned to air. People sit there and, like, you know, they hurt feelings, or, you know, say, no, you can't do something on Muhammad, you know, this and that. You do something on Jesus Christ, why can't we do something on Muhammad? It's all in that, you know, situation. On a Reddit thread about the episode being pulled, fans agreed not airing the episode was a polite thing to do, while the concurring that South Park doesn't deserve the blame for real life violence. Probably a smart decision, no matter your feeling on him. Don't give either side the reason to exploit this, wrote one. While another opinionated, you really can't fault them for not predicting this. I don't think anyone could have predicted the series events with him literally talking about gun violence as he was being shot. Yeah, and, you know, we said this on the live stream, you know, on my guests that we had on, Cam and the others. And I said, you know, would you think, would you know, on a bingo card that you would have Charlie Kirk being murdered? I mean, literally, you wouldn't even think of this. This is a man that talks to people, talk to universities. You know, he was turning the tide in these universities. A lot of those kids out there weren't protesting. You look at the crowd that showed up to this event where he was murdered. They were happy to be there, happy to hear from what he had to say. This is the things that just basically changes things in, you know, in the world. What will spark out of this? That's a good question. You know, as we were talking about it last week, you know, would this still stay in the news? Would this still stay in, you know, us talking about it, or would it just vanish away like a lot of other stories that has happened to this point? You know, the mainstream media wants to bury this story. They, you know, but in one case, they want to praise that this happened. You know, you already had one firing at MSNBC for talking about the way they did to the situation. You had a lot of people out there that tried to twist the situation. This is an unhinged person out there that basically deserves everything that's coming to them through the court systems once they catch them. Because I know they're going to treat it as a terrorist action. This person either going to get a death penalty or going away for life. So he's going to keep, him or her is going to keep running out there. But they'll catch up to him eventually. They always do. You know, they make that one mistake to that point. But, you know, the mistake here is shouldn't have been taken down. You know, Tim Pool agrees with me on that. You know, he said on X that I don't think they should have done this. Being mocked and challenged was part of Charlie's legacy. And the episode showed how important he was. That's correct. That's absolutely correct. Charlie loved the challenges. He wasn't afraid to take the questions. He was ready for anyone. And this is a guy who didn't graduate college. Self-educated. There's a lot of us out there that's self-educated because college is not the way it used to be. That's why I said skip college, go to trade school. Learn to work with your hands. That's important on there. Work with your hands. You know, you might find it you make a lot more money in certain cases than all the other things that you want to try to. I mean, he had. I remember Charlie had on this guy who said he was an English major, but he couldn't. You know, and Charlie threw out a couple of authors, and he couldn't even give one novel from those authors. I mean, one was Dickens, and I think the other one was Jane Austen. You know, and he says, well, that proves, you know, that college is a waste. And it is, because, you know, most of these professors are freaking activists. Yeah, they have been for quite some time now. You know, those parents out there, if you're planning to send your kids to college, think about it twice before you do. You know, sit with them, talk with them about their futures. Because I know there was a time and a place Charlie Kirk looked at his life and said, what should I do with it? You know, toward his beliefs. This is a man who believed in religion, who believed in freedom of speech and the Constitution, and he was out there very eloquently spoken. People say, well, he was harsh. You know, he was racist and white supremacist. No, he wasn't. He spoke the truth. The truth is out there. You know, there's an old saying, you know, they say in war, truth is the first victim. And this is what, you know, this is where we are at this point. You know, for the last several years now, the truth has been the victim. You know, every corner that we have, you know, if Elon Musk didn't take over Twitter, if basically, you know, Trump lost this election, where would we be like this? Most of us would probably be gone. You know, our channels shut down. You wouldn't be hearing this situation on there, and we will be looking more like the United Kingdom. And he said, how would you know that? Because it's already happening in the United Kingdom. You know. So, let me know in the comments below. Do you think Comedy Central was right? Do you think they were wrong? You know, to that point? Now, I can understand if on that day, if they wanted to pull it temporarily and then re-air it the next day or two, that's fine. But the thing about it is, don't pull it from the lineup. Let it consistently go. So let me know your thoughts on this. Don't forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button. Very important. Very important for us and very important for you, the viewer. Once again, thank you for clicking on this video. We know there are thousands of videos out there that you could have clicked on. You found us. You are lucky to have found us. So until next time, thank you for tuning in. Please continue to watch our videos. Do check out Sci-Fi Snob's channel, Babylon 5 Retrospective, and Top Lofty Lounge, both 11 p.m. Wednesday and Sunday nights. Sci-Fi for me. Do click on his channel on there. Hit the subscribe so you know when his podcast goes live direct right here on, I believe he's on YouTube, Rumble, and I'm not certain if he's on Odyssey. But, you know, do check it out. And basically, you know, all this content's out there for you. So until next time, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye now.